This year's city election is widely viewed as a major turning point, especially with 4 of the 5 leading candidates for mayor being women. But the political moment's also being seized for putting a spotlight on the needs of Black men and boys and is an opportunity for a voter registration effort. That was the message June 29th from the Boston Black Men's Committee. To tell us about the campaign are 2 members of the committee, Corey Thompson, the founder and principal at Mobius and Mobius Community Builders, and Jimmy L. Thompson Jr., the founder of Second Chance Against the Odds, or S.C.A.T.O, and CEO of Rearguard Security Systems, Inc. Gentlemen, I'd like to thank you both very much for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Yeah. I'd like to start with Jimmy Thompson, because one thing I noticed in the event near City Hall at the end of June, this was not just about deficits. This is about assets, people bringing something to the table and wanting to share. How does that apply to you?
Your observation was absolutely correct. You know, in what I represent, we all know that our traditional leaders have always been athletes, entertainers, pastors, and politicians. And the one thing about the Black Male Committee is that they're now giving men and individuals like me a seat at the table. Who am I? You know what I'm saying? I'm an individual that's been Corey and Sori affected. I'm an individual, you know, that's a survivor or of the school to prison pipeline. I'm a survivor of sexual abuse. I've been clean and sober for going on over 10 years, but I'm a father, I'm a husband, and I'm a grandfather. So I have, in the gentleman that spoke at the City Hall, Brother Fu Khan, who was behind the wall, we have boots on the ground experience. So what you're witnessing with the Black Male Committee is that everyone's invited to the table despite or because of our experience in things of that nature.
Corey Thompson, you have training as an architect. You're involved in the development field. So how does that set of assets feed into this campaign?
Well, in the light of construction as it is right now, there's a huge deficit in manpower. And historically, the trades have been able to support individuals with pre-existing conditions on their record. And we love to support those who have been marginalized and left back. So with the climate that we're in, I would love to be able to uplift some of the brothers that were brothers and sisters that are behind the wall and that have the motivation to change and better their lives.
Well, how would you do that? Because one of the things that certainly comes to my mind is the way the city works with developers, or the way the city makes decisions about contracts or even builds capacity. Is that part of this campaign?
It is, in a sense, but it comes deeper than that. The true value that is added when we are supporting the industry from the inside, from those who are decision makers, can really make an impact on the disparity that's happening with young men and women coming out from behind the wall that are looking for a career and a change. And with the trades, you can do that in a relatively short period of time, in a 9 to say 12-month period of workforce development through institutions like a Benjamin Franklin Institute, like a BFIT, to name one of them. So I like to always operate within a network instead of silos. And that's where I see some of the issues that happened in the past, operations happening in silos and not creating that support for the pipeline from prison to civility. And that's, you know, that's the harsh reality of it. We want to support our brothers and sisters, but a lot of industries don't do that as well.
Jimmy, you talked about being able to surmount the difficulties that come with incarceration in your past. What about avoiding it in the future? The younger kids who you're trying to divert, what needs to be done for them that you haven't been able to do before?
Well, that's one of the things that the male committee and the plethora of organizations that have come together, men have come together, and we want to talk about, you know, the miseducation, the re-education, and do the things that maybe that Corey mentioned, the trade. We want to talk about, you know, jobs and being employable. We want to talk about some of the things, the barriers that, you know, that inhibit a Black male from, you know, getting a sustainable chance, you know what I'm saying, to get a job. Like, and I just want to piggyback real quick, Chris, is like my company, Rare God Security System. I've had a 20-year plus collaboration with Strive, where I would come in and I would hire some Strive students from their existing class, and I would put them on various security jobs. So there was three things that would happen while they're training at Strive. They would work with me. I'm a legitimate organization. I'm incorporated in Massachusetts, and we would update their resume. They would have a good job reference, and they would have on-hands experience on doing something different. So there's a lot, and I'm not isolated. There's a lot of other unsung individuals and corporations that just don't get the light of day, but we're thanking the pastors, the politicians, the activists for now not just passing the baton, but sharing the baton with individuals that have backgrounds like myself.
Corey, what about the ability of businesses to do more of that? Is it just about willpower, or do they need some added capacity to make sure it works?
Well, that's a loaded question in a sense, but to answer it the best of my ability is my observation and the data that I have is the willingness. If the willingness is there, it can be achieved. I'm coming from the District of Columbia, Maryland area, and where I believe the will and the ability to do some of what you just mentioned is there, and that created an atmosphere for growth and strength within our communities. And some of the toughest neighborhoods in the country at the time when I was there in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, has turned around significantly because of the trades and the opportunities that workforce development within construction and the construction industry had presented.
Jeremy, I go back to a time when it was common for people in Boston to say that women are underrepresented in leadership, and especially in city government. Things have changed since then, but as far as this year, how did it feel for you to be standing out there near City Hall just a few weeks ago and just seeing this group of men, just the whole tone of leadership? How did that strike you in the context we're in right now?
Well, for one, I wasn't there, but I was well represented because I'm a part of the committee. Two, you know, it's our time, and to see Black men in a city council and our interim mayor all at the podium talking about Black men and boys, because in every category, Black men and boys are at the bottom. You know what I'm saying? And so we understand that the city council and the interim mayor, when we talk about Black men and boys, we might be talking about their father or their uncle, you know what I'm saying, or their son, you know what I'm saying? So it really felt good to see that. And to get back to your question, I say that you gave Corey, I say, listen, if you teach a man to fish, he'll take an opportunity and you feed him for a lifetime. So we have to adequately have fair opportunities to do the things that our white counterparts have been given from generations.
I have to add here that Councilor Julia Mejia is trying to get a similar committee or commission for Latinx men. I want to come back to Corey though, because this whole phenomenon, the presence of men and just working as a group, how does that take things to the next level? Because we're talking about voter registration here. How is it important to have that real visibility for men to engage people?
Well, you said a key thing, visibility. Having a say at the table gives us the visibility and the strength we need in order to go forward. Like I was saying that day, a ship cannot leave port without a navigational system or guidance. And with the group of Black men that met that Tuesday, they're bringing to the table a way how to do it, a direction. And that direction is what we've been lacking as a group in the past, historically. But now I think we're coming together, pulling our best effort forward and navigating that system and finding a way to really make a change in the Black community and relationships with Black men and boys.
I know it might be premature to claim a ripple effect, but you've probably seen the story about another mayoral candidate, John Barros, meeting with men. I'm not asking you to endorse anybody here, but doesn't that look like maybe a continuation of what you were doing a few weeks ago?
It could be considered that, but it's that ripple effect is a national ripple. It's a wave that's going through this country like never seen before, and within the conditions that we're forced into with the likes of COVID and George Floyd, to really emphasize the need for to support Black men and boys even more so. So he's touched, the candidate Barros has touched on something that's very needed in the Black community for men and boys. So not as an endorsement of him, but I do see the need.
Okay.
And if I might add, we don't hold a monopoly. If Barrows and any other organization's intent is pure with being unapologetically Black and helping Black men and boys, then we all need to come to the table. We need to do what the male committee is doing. The Black male committee is we're leaving our egos at the door, our titles, our esteemed reputations, and everyone has a piece of this puzzle to do what's needed to be done, not just here, like Corey said, DC, Chicago, cross country, but we're going to start right here. So we don't hold a monopoly on it, but their intent will be exposed.